Okay, let's look at a few examples of OR statements. So we can solve compound inequalities containing the word OR, and for this we're using union. And actually I realized for the AND, I think there was a typo. That's why I was so confused by that notation. So for OR, we use an upside down U. For AND, that's why it looked so weird. I was like, what is that symbol that I put in here? And this is not supposed to be an I, it's supposed to be an upside down U. And you can see that when you do the upside down U, if you were to cross it, you make it an A, like AND. Right? U is for union, and we use union because we're going to join two sets together. So remember here, either thing can be true. So if we have graphically, here we had two inequalities that were solved, okay, and so you can see how they were solved, and then we graph both. Well, the interval, we're actually joining the two together. So in this case, the difference between the AND and the OR is that in OR, either thing can be true and the whole thing is true. So let's just actually try this one, even though I wanted you to try these. If we say x is greater than or equal to 6, or x is less than 0, we can see that I can't have two things that would both exist in those. You know, I can't have a number that would both be greater than 6 and less than 0. So if we start with, here's 0, I'm less than 0, or I'm greater than or equal to 6, so here's 6, greater than or equal to 6. Okay, and then that interval would be from negative infinity to 0, and then I'm going to U for union, I'm going to join that with the other interval from 6 to infinity. Okay? So you can go ahead and give those other ones a try, and I'm sure there's a few problems that we're going to try with this as well. So let's actually skip to problem D, because this one we have some solving to do. So what would you do to solve for x here? We would want to get x by itself. Before I could graph it, I need to get x by itself. So what would you do? Yes, add 13 to both sides. You get negative 12x is less than or greater than or equal to 2. And then what? Yeah, divide negative 12. And so if you divide by negative 12, you have to flip the inequality. So flip it the other way. X is less than or equal to negative 1/6. Does everybody see where I got negative 1/6? Reduce it. And then here we're going to add 1 to both sides. Negative 7 is less than, or negative 7x is less than negative 16. And then what? And flip the sign. Good. X is greater than, what's that? Just leave it as 16/7, right? And so, since we're using the word OR, let's graph both parts. So x is less than or equal to negative 1/6. So let's just put here negative 1/6 less than or equal to. It goes this way down here, right? You guys will let me know if I'm making a mistake, right? X is greater than 16/7. So that's somewhere up here, greater than 16/7, shading up here. And so the interval will be from what? U. Yeah. Very good. Any questions about the OR? And somebody emailed me about a question about this on WebWork, and I think the main thing was that they weren't putting in the word OR, and that's where you can see Or I think there was a situation with and or. So you have to be careful about looking at that wording on those.